Hello there, this is Rom coming back at you with yet another smartphone office video. Yeah, men are getting women despite not having looks, money, status, or height. Now, let me break down what I'm saying when I'm saying each one. First of all, let's be real. When dudes are talking about looks, they talking about somebody looking like some supermodel, some PSL god or something like extreme looks, right? Because everybody got looks, whether or not they good looks or something is something else. But let's be real on something. Everybody's talking, when people are talking about looks, they talking about extremely good looking model looks. When they talking about money, they talking minimum six figures and stuff. And status, everybody know who they are. They doing something great. And height, at least 6'2". Yet there are men out here who don't look like some PSL god, look like they could be some fashion model getting women. Some men who ain't making six figures, shoot, even broke getting women, and they definitely don't have status. You don't know who these guys are. And they definitely not over 6'2". And I'm saying 6'2" because it's getting to the point saying even 6 feet ain't doing it. But they still getting women. And you know how do you know they getting women? They walking out here with the women. They walking out here with the women and babies. And for like you get some dudes out here trying to say, well, Rom, you don't know what's going on out here. Yeah, but hold up. First of all, I got sons who are 22 and 20. All right? 22 and 20. So I already know what they doing. I know what their friends are doing. Shoot. And then when I'm seeing some of these younger people out here, they definitely more contemporary. They walking around with babies. They walking around with babies. And you can tell they younger. You can tell they're younger. See, one of the problems is a lot of dudes want to come up with excuses. And they want to see that whole looks, money, status, even height thing. Shoot. Even in some cases, body is nothing but some excuse. Nothing but some excuse and everything. That's all it is. That is all it is. Because you got some men out here, they ain't doing it. Now, I ain't stuck in a house or anything either. My area of walking around, going around, not just walking around, driving around, extends from Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. Even times when I've been to other cities, Atlanta, Houston, San Diego, Los Angeles. And it's the same thing. You get some guys, they ain't all that. They ain't no fashion models. Now, I can't tell if they got money or something, but, well, actually I can, but there's some other ways you can tell somebody got money. But they definitely don't have status. I don't know who these guys are. And they ain't taller than me. You got to be taller than me to be at least 6 feet. But see, you get some guys out here, they want to complain and everything. So apparently it's still like, let's be real. First of all, if you got looks, money, status, height, yeah, you're going to get some women. Let's just be real on that. If you got those things, you should get women. If you looking like some fashion model, you got money, you got status, you got that height, shoot. I could even throw like what people think body game is, being lean and stuff. They ain't body game though. For those who don't know, body game is just your best body and finding the women who like it. You can even throw that in there. Yeah, they're going to get some, but let's be real. Everybody don't have it. How many dudes are looking like those fashion models? And despite a lot of men making a lot of money, a lot of women don't know that. And even then, it's still not a lot. The majority of men ain't making money like that. In status, that's even smaller. And even then, it still depends on whether the woman knows whether that man has status. And only 14% of men are even over 6 feet. And then when you're talking over 6'2", only 3%. But yet there's some men who they ain't got none of that walking around. Got some babies in there, they pushing a baby carriage. They walking around with a decent looking woman. Because even then, some dudes will come up, well, they ain't walking around with supermodels. Ain't that many supermodels. How many beautiful women are there? Let's just be real. Most women are the same. Most women look the same. When you see a supermodel type or a very beautiful woman, that is rare. And even then, it depends on where you're located. Now, but there's still men getting it. Common sense says you should be thinking, well, hold up. If these men who don't have these things are getting women, that means you can get women too. That is the whole key right there. That is the whole key right there. That's what I preach. If you really look at what I'm preaching, I'm saying, look, man, just be your best and see what you get. Because even the women know, they might have some fantasy about some guys who got all that. And that's cool. That's cool for the romance book industry. But they know it too. They looking for somebody they click with. Because one of the things that's not talked about in all of that is just personality. It really just comes down to personality click. And if you ain't clicking with a woman, if you ain't clicking, you got to look at yourself. What is it about you? Like you get some dudes out there, they thinking, well, I got this, this, and this. It was like, man, you got fucked up personality. A man can see that. It was like, damn. It's like somebody you want to go right to their jaw or something. They just fucked up in the head. But whatever the case, the men who are getting it, what are they doing? What are they doing? They must be doing something. They must be doing something. And see, here's the thing. If they doing it, that means you can do it too. Stop using the excuse, I forgot that word. Well, I'll just say excuse for now. The excuse is saying, well, I don't look like much. No, that's an excuse. Because there's some guys who probably look in the same range you do getting some women. Or I ain't making 6 figures. Man, let's be real. Some of the men getting the most play in some poor areas. Whether it's the hood, the trailer park, the res, the favela, wherever poor. Hell, in some poor countries, the women in poor countries around the world, the women are popping out babies like crazy. And it takes a lot. Trust me, that to me, I still say that's an indication of being selective. A woman willingly popping out your baby. Indeed, shoot, I could talk about that all day. Because one of the main things with a man's physical appearance is that a woman wants to replicate it even on a subconscious basis. And then want that guy to take care of it. But they still getting with whoever. And everything. But if these men exist, if these men are around, and they can do it, you need to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, how come you ain't doing it? These guys ain't looking. And you know what? Anybody who goes against it, like I always say, if you got something to say against it, tell me where you living first. Tell me where you living. Because usually the guys who are trying to go against it, they living in regular cities too. They seeing it themselves. But they want to point out to everything else instead of looking themselves in the mirror. Seriously. And you see it. So like I say, you go to any malls. You go out, go to a grocery store. And you'll see it. You'll see some guys who ain't 6 feet walking around with a woman and children. If you just use just that metric, you're like, well, hold up. The only thing you can probably say is, okay, I don't know who the guy is, so how much status it is. They might have some money. Now, some dudes will say it, but hold up. Let me look at the money thing, because some dudes will say, well, he must have some money. Well, maybe he don't. Maybe he don't. Because like I said earlier, one of the things that really has to be looked at is just personality. Maybe attitude, you know? Maybe all women just like different looks. And there's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, usually when guys are talking about that, they talking about some so-called PSL guys, and they look great and everything. Ain't enough of them to go around, and there's 8 billion people in the world, so common sense says apparently it's something else. Now, women do like looks, but like I said, women like different looks. Women like different things, and just because a man likes a particular man's looks, that don't mean a particular woman likes that looks. And that's what I'm talking about. Like I said, that's what I'm talking about. You get these guys out here talking about some PSL guys and everything, but you get some guys who don't look shit like that. Whoa, man, hold up, y'all. Hold up. Got this emergency thing going on here. Hold up. Let me turn that down real quick. Got one of those emergency things on the music and stuff. I'll put it back on once it come back on, right? But anyway, okay, I can put it back on now. Yeah. Anyway, right? Seriously, because look, my thing is just reality. What do I always say? Just be your best self and see who you can get, right? And really, it does come. No, there's not enough talk about just personality, just clicking. And really, that's all it is. Like when you see, like if you see like a very beautiful woman, right? Like she could be a model, and she with some big old dude, big hominy grit eating dude, right? And sometimes you can't figure it out, right? It was like, nah, they clicked, right? Or you get some guy who's like seemingly heartless or something, and he get with some woman who, I don't know, she might be a little distant herself. Their personalities click. In fact, that's the real secret. Anybody looking for the secret is really the personalities, because looks are different. Money, everybody don't got money. I wish more people had money like that. And let's be real, status, come on now. And then height. With like I said, right now the height now is 6'2". You got guys online talking about they 6 feet and women calling them short, and they ain't there. And let me say something about what these women say online. They online. You can't say anything. They'll say whatever online because they be laughing and everything. I don't even take them seriously. Yeah, you be seeing some of those women online talking like whatever smack they gonna talk, and then they with somebody totally different outside of it. And all it is, they just click personality-wise with whoever, or they'll tell you whatever. And surprise, women lie about shit. They lie about shit. Because, like I said, all you have to do is take your ass outside. Go to wherever it is public. You're going to see couples together, right? You're going to see couples together. That's all you have to worry about. Couples together. Who you seeing walking together. You can look at their body language, tell if they together and that. And if they got children, they got babies and everything. Well, they walking together. You go in the grocery store, you be seeing couples and stuff having a baby and everything. You know what? They were good with each other enough to have a baby. That woman wanted that guy. If that woman wanted to reproduce that guy, she was good with his looks. Like I said, I always use the example when I was in a barbershop years ago. There was this guy and he had a lopsided head, a bump on the head and stuff. And his 4 kids went there, they had that same bump. Apparently that woman liked it, and probably liked some other stuff about him, right? And here's my point with it all. Here is my point. And this is the point y'all gotta stick with. Y'all gotta get beyond, it goes beyond the physical stuff. It goes beyond the physical stuff. That's why even when I talk about the pillars of men and women getting together, environment, first whatever environment you in, where you live in, all of that stuff, right? Then your bait, your trap, is master teacher BGS would call it. What are you doing? You still want to fix up your appearance, your clothes, all of that stuff, right? But then it's conversation. You still gotta have the conversation. That's when the personality comes in. When you go on a date, you really going to see if your personalities click. See, nobody's talking about that. And that's really the big thing. I don't argue too much when guys say mouthpiece. Now, if they say just mouthpiece, I'm like, it's in there, but you still gotta have other stuff. And then sex. Like I said, sex appeal, that's just intangible. It depends on what the woman likes and whatnot. And see, that's something else not talked about. Somebody could be handsome, somebody could have money, somebody could have status, they could even have height, and still not make a woman's vagina tingle. So it's other stuff. What men need to learn is, first of all, if he's not getting the women like that, he need to look at himself. He need to honestly look at himself. He need to look at what's going on with him. Maybe it's something about him, and especially his personality, maybe his attitude. Maybe he's just getting on a woman's nerves. I don't know. Maybe his breath is bad. I don't know. He need to look at himself, because apparently some other guys out here don't have what some guys be trying to say, and they getting women. It's just that simple. All right. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I want y'all to really think about that, because Rom's on the real. Like I said, y'all had to believe a word I say. Go take your ass outside. Look around. If you don't see, you be seeing these couples. The guys ain't looking like no damn fashion model. Be with a woman, You don't know how much money they have, but just going on stats and everything, everybody don't have money. And especially if you see it in a poor neighborhood or something, you see some dude coming out the hood, the trailer park, res, favela, whatever, and they still have a woman. It's probably not money, because you ain't gonna live in those places if you got money. Shit. And status, you don't know. Shit. You be having some dudes having multiple women. Only people who know them is maybe the women around the way. And height, let's just be real. Only 3% of men are over 6'2". And shoot, if you still take it to 6 feet, only like 14% of men are over 6 feet. And like I said, like I'm a barefoot 5'11", and my height, just from gravity during the day can go down to like 10.75 or something like that. And that's barefoot. With shoes on still, at least 5'11" with shoes on. So most of the men I see walking around with women shorter than me. So if their height's not stopping them, and they ain't looking like fashion models or what these guys are calling PSL guys, they ain't stopping them. I don't know how much money they have, and if I don't know who they are, how much status can they have? Seriously, I want y'all to think about that. But they still getting women. So apparently there's more to it. And look, don't come up with excuses. Don't come up with excuses like this, and this. They still have it. Unless you know that person. All right? And stop. And I already know some dudes be on here capping sometime. Right? And if you go against this, just tell me where you live. Seriously. Tell me what city you from, what street you from. Because I ain't going to take you seriously otherwise. All right? Seriously. But seriously, that just means whatever man you can get play out here. If that other man can get a woman, if he can get children, what's stopping you? Seriously, what's stopping you? So anyway, that's all I have today. Probably back in the car videos starting tomorrow and everything. Yeah, like I said, I got some other stuff to do, so I had to change up my schedule. So, all right, it is what it is. So anyway, y'all, I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.